Sorry I was late, guys. It needed me to update Zoom, and my computer was
Oh,
having issues.
all good. Listen, the internet, right? We're
Yeah.
always beholden to it in some capacity. So do you normally agree to do podcasts when you're schmem drunk at a wrestling show, or is this an
I
exception?
I never agree to do podcasts ever. So no, I was excited. Even when I got sober the next day, I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I'm going to do it." It's
To be
usually
fair,
best. Yeah.
you hold your liquor quite well, because I honestly would not have known that you were drunk. So, hey, hats
Yeah.
off to you.
Well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
A seasoned pro.
Yeah, I don't drink much at all anymore, so that was like 4 beers, and I was like feeling like, whoa, like what's going on here, you know? And you don't want to be that guy. It's not my show. Like I was backstage at your show. I don't want to be the guy walking around drunk. So I think I was a little sensitive to it, you know?
No, that's when you're allowed to be. You didn't have to do anything. You got to just be there as a fan. So you're allowed to throw back the beers. I mean, that's the vibe, right?
It is, but like, sure, if they were like, hey, here's a couple of tickets, go, go in your seats and enjoy and have a beer or two, that's one thing. Yes. Because then
Sure.
I'm part of the crowd and going crazy. But if I'm backstage where you guys are all working and I'm, and I'm blundering around drunk, that's no good. So I was probably like being hard on myself. If you didn't even notice, that's great.
No, I had no idea. Honestly, I would not have had a clue. But do you get like an emotional hangover after something like that? Especially if you don't drink a ton and then all of a sudden you're in the midst, it's loud, it's fun, all these things are happening. Do you like the next day be like, oh my God, was that weird? Like, I feel like I do that a lot. I get like that anxiety of like, I said something dumb. Geez, like, come on, get it together. Do you do that to yourself?
Yeah, that pretty much defined my 20s. That feeling. My buddy Chris calls it the shame cave. Like when you
Oh,
wake up the
yes.
next day and you're in the shame cave. What did I do? What did I do? I mean, it's never as bad as you think. I think most people are
No.
like slightly amused when people are drunk, but I don't know. It's a thing.
No.
I worry about it.
I feel like I got worse at that as I got older. When I was younger, I was like, it's fine. We were all in the same boat. As you get older, though, I'm like, oh my God, people don't need to see that from me. I'm like swearing a ton. It's
Yeah.
aggressive.
I
Anyway,
I like what you just described, so that sounds fun to me.
we would get on just fine then.
It
Next
would be
time
great
I'll
drinking
partake with
buddies.
you.
That's
Did you
good.
have fun? You were there at Full Gear. Was
Yeah.
that your first time being at an AEW show? I know I've seen you guys backstage at WWE
Yeah.
before.
No, that was probably my fourth or fifth. I flew to Vegas for the pay-per-view out
Oh,
there. It was
sweet.
there. Anytime they're in the area, me and Sal and I try and go for sure.
Yeah, hell yeah. Good, good, good. I saw that you posted about MJF. We don't really have to get into it, but it's fine. It's fine.
Oh, we can. I mean, we could talk about that piece of garbage anytime you want.
Piece of shit.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's talk about you. Doing my research, getting ready for this interview. Dude, December 15th, 2011, when you
Yeah.
guys debuted on TV. Holy shit. Like honestly, like for a TV show to be on that long, for you guys to have the success that you've had with Impractical Jokers, do you really get to sort of kind of look back on that and like just relish in what you guys have been able to accomplish? It's pretty crazy.
It's not real. We're just starting to get some awareness of how bananas it is, because like, you're in it. When you're in it, you're in it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's it. And then the pandemic went down, brought us all down for 2 years. And like, I don't know, there's this thing now where one, now we're shooting season 10, which is like, that's a big number that
Yeah.
most shows don't get to. So
How
it's
many
like,
episodes do you guys do a season?
we've been doing 26 episodes of 4 specials for, yeah, 9
That is
years.
a lot of cameras, a lot of
Yeah.
lav mics on you. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it's a fun job. It's not like
Yeah,
it's
of
difficult.
course. Of
Um,
course.
the thing now, which is weird because we live on, I'm on Staten Island. I still live in, on Staten Island. I'm still here. We don't live in California. We're kind of removed a little bit from the industry
Hmm.
in a weird way. So we never really have all the trappings that come with it. Like I'm just home. I'm just, you know what I mean, where I am all the time. But there's this thing lately where it's like kids are coming up to me. I want to say kids, I mean like people in their 20s, like are coming up to me and they're like, oh my God, like I started watching the show like when I was in high school, because we've been on
Yeah.
12 years now.
Yeah.
So, a kid that started when high school at 14 is 26 now. And they're like,
Damn.
yeah, they're like, well, you got me through high school, you got me through college. We would sit in the dorm. Now I'm at work, and I'm working a job. I'm married with a family. And when I hear that, I start to be like, oh man, like,
You're
geez,
a
I feel
staple
old.
in some people's lives. And like to be I guess like the way to look at it as well is like you've been welcomed into people's households. They've chosen to watch you guys for 12 years. Like, yeah, you really become a thread of like somebody's life to a degree. That's
Yeah. And,
bizarre.
and it's an honor. Like, I get it, because there are things that do that for me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
There are shows that I go to when I'm just home. I'll throw on whatever, you know what I mean? And just
What are
turn it on.
those things for you? What are your like go-to feel good? You
Okay.
got to have it on.
Gotta have it on for me. Look, Golden Girls, it's going to be tough to top Golden Girls. I love Golden Girls. That'll be on, like What We Do in the Shadows, Ash versus Evil Dead. I watch over and over again.
Mhm.
There's like just tons of shows, you know what I mean? Like, I try and
Yeah.
rewatch Batman the animated series every few years.
God, my husband's really into that.
Yeah.
Big into the Batman stuff.
Oh, it's Batman. Yeah, who's not into that, right? You, I guess.
Listen, I think it's fine, but I think it is for like guys within that age range of what you're like 74.
Yeah, I'm 74.
74, he's 85. Well, born
No,
74.
I was born in 76.
76, 76.
Yeah.
He's 85. So yeah, I guess like within that age range, if you guys are into like Batman and you missed the Ninja Turtles bandwagon?
No, I was all in on the Ninja
Okay.
Turtles as a kid. Yeah, I was there. When the first movie came out, I had a poster of Donatello. No, it was Raphael in a trench coat and a thing on my wall. Yeah, I had that. I loved it, man. I've always been like that. So I've always gravitated towards like stuff like that. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you look around, it's like it's all comic book stuff, and it's just what I've
Yeah.
always gravitated to. Yeah, I was like a geeky little kid, so.
No, but I mean, to the point of like having stuff on that you're just like the feel good stuff. Like for us, it's Frasier. We always have Frasier on. That's like the
Yeah.
going to bed. You put on Frasier. I fall asleep to the Crane Family literally every night for the past like at least 7 years. So anyways, to the theme of being a thread in somebody's life and you guys being on television for 12 years, what do you think it is to the longevity of what you guys are doing from like when you guys started that like initial pitch of what Impractical Jokers is going to be to what you guys have been able to build over the last decade plus?
Yeah. So wait, what's the question?
Of
I'm
just
confused.
what do you think is kind of the key to your success, I guess? Or
Oh, the
like how
key.
and how
Jeez.
the show has been able to like grow and change and adapt.
Well, I think that we got lucky with some factors. I think the fact that, first and foremost, I like to think it's a funny show. You know what I mean? So people like to laugh. So like that's where people like right away. We don't challenge you. We don't want you to think. You know what I mean? We're not asking you to like do anything but sit back and laugh. And I think that is something. Whoever's delivering that to you is going to be welcome. And then
Yeah.
especially like we just had this perfect storm of time and a thing, because like, I don't have to tell you what the world's been like the past 6-7 years, you know what I mean? So I think
Yeah.
that there was two things going on. One, in the entertainment industry, there was not a premium on shut off your mind and think.
Yeah.
Like it was like everything had to be a message or something like that. So we squeaked in as one of the few shows that were kind of like, hey, you could just shut your mind off and think. And I think that helped us. I think people are like, oh man, I could just watch the show and like shut up and laugh. And they remind me of my friends or my cousin or my brothers or whatnot. And then the other thing too, it's like we were on TruTV, which
Mhm.
helped because
Why?
they didn't have anything else.
Yeah.
So they weren't going to cancel us because they didn't have anything else. So
Thank
it's like,
God for that, right?
yeah,
God, so many shows nowadays too. It's like even if it's something that is great and you feel like it could have some really great substance, I feel like, networks often have such a knee-jerk reaction to canceling things. It's
yeah,
really awesome to be somewhere where they can let you grow and develop and figure out your voice, your tone, all that stuff. Because I mean, shit, you look at something like even like Schitt's Creek, that got yanked early
sure.
on, and like to see the way that show was able to grow and change, and now people are like so obsessed with a show like that. It's nice to be able to have a network backing to that degree.
Yeah, and to that end too, it's like we went through 4 different regime changes at True. Like the people who hired us were fired, and new people were brought in, and then they were fired, and then new people were brought in. So every time, like I'm telling you, a lot of it, like there was some lucky breaks. Like,
Yeah.
you know, they would come in and like, all right, well, and now I'm in charge of this network. What's working? Impractical Jokers. Okay, just renew them. Get them off. Nobody wanted to be the people that came in and were like canceling Impractical Jokers. It didn't make any financial sense.
Yeah.
For them. So we were able to kind of slip through the raindrops, and like the show, because it's a reality show, they don't have to pay us to air it. It's not like Frasier, they're paying him every time they air it. They don't have to do it, and like that's a condition of signing a crappy contract when you're an unknown. But in a way, it's helped us too, because you turn on TruTV, it's Impractical Jokers. It's always on, and they can do that, and that I think bolstered our popularity, because when you're channel searching, it's always on.
Yeah, you can't not know what Impractical Jokers is.
So we got lucky in that way. So we do get lucky breaks, and we work hard. We work really hard. So I think that, you know, it's just a mixture of what's worked for everybody, just the right break at the right time, and the right people around you.
So I have worked alongside my husband for many years, whether in WWE, now in AEW. What is your takeaway from being able to work alongside your best friends since high school, and to have this project, this family, this baby together, the ups and the downs that come with that?
It's been it's as good as it seems from the outside. We are really lucky in that we get along really, really well. We don't have like, we're very considerate of each other. Like, I love those guys, you know what I mean? And it's like, not to say that every day has been like a joy, you know what I mean? You have days where you're like, you know, we all go through, I mean, God, we've been doing it so long, and life changes and everything. But for the most part, it's just like those guys I genuinely love. And it was like, so you want to be respectful, and I have faith in them and their talent. So if Murray says something's funny, even if I don't think it's like funny, I'm like, well, let's back this play because he's a funny guy. So it's like, it's just this really weird thing. We don't have problems. Like, we don't have, there's no ego issues. There's no anything like that behind the scenes, because we just genuinely get along. And I think that is the biggest thing that has gotten it this far without any problems. I love it. I love going to work. We have in-jokes. I mean, I'm around them more than anybody else in my entire life. So if you don't like them, you're kind of screwed. You know?
The contract has been signed. You got to show your ass up to work anyways. You might as well enjoy everyone that's there. Sure. Is there any kind of likening to being in like that boy band, and there's like the one guy that always like ends up wanting to break away and do their own thing and have that solo career? Has that ever been like kind of a thing that's ever been a blip for you guys?
Not really. Not really. I mean, I think there's a higher interest now in doing stuff outside of Jokers than there ever has been before. But that's just as the nature of like, look, after 12 years, even if you want to keep doing this, you want to do something different. You know what I mean? You have to. You know, Joe left the show, which was a surprise to me. I didn't see that one coming. You know,
what was the reaction when that happened? Like, if you want to get into that.
Well, it wasn't really anything like, I was just blown away because I didn't see it coming. And I was like, whoa, like I didn't know you felt this way. You know what I mean? I didn't know that these things were going on with your family in a lot of ways. So it was, but personally, again, like I love Joe, and it's like, I talk to him all the time. So it's like, not like it didn't cause any problems. Like the show didn't get canceled. If the show had canceled and I lost my job, then there might've been some tough conversations to have, you know what I mean? Sure. But since that wasn't the case, then it was more of an emotional toll than anything else. But look, the guy put in 10 years. Like, what, you know, how much more do you got to do? Yeah. So Sal loves stand-up. He always wanted to do stand-up. So he does a lot of stand-up now, and Murray tours solo as well. But really, for the most part, I like being collaborative, I think. So I don't really want to do much without them or other friends. So
what? Oh, sorry, carry on.
No, I think also too, it's like I'm 46 and like I've had a TV show for 12 years. It's been a good show. I don't walk around being like, what else do I have to prove or do? Like, what? Sure. You know what it's like. At the end of the day, you just get home and you're like, oh man, I'm just happy to be on the couch and watching White Lotus. You know what I mean?
Yes. By the way, we caught up on the last episode last night. What a great show. Oh my God.
What a great show, man. Unbelievable.
Jennifer Coolidge, the re-rise of a Jennifer Coolidge. Unbelievable.
Oh, she is so good. She makes a line when she goes to when she goes, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the new episode, but like when she goes to snort that cocaine, and like she even does this thing where like she doesn't get the straw on the line. It's like bumps around, and it's the most subtle thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, she's doing it on purpose. And it's so funny. It's so funny. And I think most people won't even notice that,
No, it's so nice. I just saw an article or an interview with her as well, where she was saying that of like she doesn't want to watch that perfect package of somebody on television that doesn't have these flaws and have these other things that just make somebody that interesting kind of character. And the fact that a character like her, and I feel like so many people just assume that that's how she is in real life, these characters that she plays, it's sort of like ditzy, aloof, but to know that she is putting so much thought into all of those little things that she does to just make her such a well-rounded character. It's amazing. Like
great.
True
really
artist. That's really clean, really fresh.
She's so funny.
Yeah, but it is really nice. I think once you've been able to like cement your own career, to have your show for so long, and then I don't want to say like take your foot off the gas pedal. It's not that, but I think there's something to being able to just kind of like pause and enjoy the stuff that's around you and not feel like you have to like go so constantly.
And I want to do things. I definitely want to do other things, but I'm sure you feel the same way. Like
totally.
The pandemic just changed us. I think fundamentally, where it's just like we went from working 6-7 days a week for 10 years to like suddenly I was just sitting on my ass for 2 years. I loved it. I was worried about the world like everybody else was, but like, I just loved it. And I got to spend time with my cats. I got to spend time with friends, family. It was like, aside from the existential dread that we're all experiencing, I was like, man, this is all, I don't know. I think it changed me. I was thinking I need more of that in my life.
No, I agree to that a big time. I think it also like puts in perspective when you've been able to have a job in television for so long, like that's the accomplishment. Like what a pat on the back. Like I did that. Not a lot of people get to have a show for that long. And like I've been able to have a job in television for such a long time. Like how fucking lucky are we to have been able to do that, to now be able to just like kind of enjoy the things that come with that and not have to be in the rat race onto the next.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
I think so too. I think so too. I don't know, like, it's just a thing where you just try and be grateful. Yeah. I'll do the show as long as they want me to. If True's like, look, we want you to do 5 more seasons, I'll do 5. We'll segue right into that Betty White show where they were all off the rocket. Like I'll go right into that. Like I don't ever want to stop doing it. So like, I don't know. I just have immense gratitude and stuff like that, which I think when people lose that is when they want to leave shows and stuff like that.
Sure. Okay. So that being said, sitting in that gratitude, all the great things are there, but you did mention there are some other things that you want to do. What are some of those, some scratches that you want to itch?
Well,
some itches you want to scratch? Did I say that backwards?
Plenty of itches. Yeah, no, I got it.
I'm so itchy.
That's funny. What a quote. Look, I love comic books and stuff like that. I would really love, like, DC Comics has always been my thing. I love those characters so much. So I want to do something in that space before it's all over, whether it be a comic book, whether it be an animated show, whether it be something like, I just want to get paid to write Superman. I don't know. I've always loved him. So there's that. And then I've always loved horror. Like I'm a classic, like I just check boxes of like, like a Gen X geek. Like I want to do, like I love horror. So it's like, I want to do something in the horror. So I got to do a horror movie and it was so much fun.
What kind of horror are we talking? Like what is your sweet spot in the horror genre?
Look, like I said, man, my decade of growth was the 80s. I like slasher, like corny, like just blood spurting everywhere and like not even realistic. Who cares? Like just sort of fun horror. I don't think I could do, like, you get like Mike Flanagan, the guy who does he did like Oculus and he did Midnight Mass and all these great shows for Netflix, now Amazon. I can't do what he does because it's like that's a real cerebral, moody, atmospheric horror. But like if you need like a fun like slasher ghost thing, I'm like, I'll do that. I would love to do that. I just more version of shit that you don't have to think about. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
Comic book Superman, like just the brightest, friendliest guy in the world. Don't think too much about it. He's beautiful. Do it. Horror movie. Hey man, like let's get him into the woods. Let's get some campers going. Let's get somebody like stabbing him to death everywhere. It's just don't think, just enjoy. That's really what I like to do.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that. There's something, I don't want to say like formulaic about it, but just that kind of like fun layout. You know what you're getting. You're right. You can zone out and just go along for the ride and enjoy that whole thing. Dude, you got to be in Picard. What?
Oh my God, how great is that? How great. I'm trying to fix this camera for you.
Okay. That's okay. So
yeah.
I'm not a Trekkie, but Picard is incredible. Oh my God, what a great show. What was your experience like working on that?
Well, it was nuts because, all right, so it's actually an interesting story behind that I like to tell. Like, so the guy who show runs Picard is a good buddy of mine, my buddy Terry. He created in the TV show 12 Monkeys, and he ran MacGyver. Now he's on Picard. Now he's on some other things. And he's a fan of Jokers. That's how we met. When 12 Monkeys premiere, I went to the premiere party in LA. We hit it off really well, became really good friends. So he put me in 12 Monkeys as this character named Dale. And I was on, it's a small scene, and I'm on a date. I'm on a first date with someone. I had this ugly ass tie, and then 12 Monkeys ended. Then when he started MacGyver, he's like, hey, would you be interested in flying down to Atlanta to shoot Dale in MacGyver? So great, let's do it. So now I have a scene where MacGyver's on a date and sitting at the next table. I'm wearing the same tie. I have the tie somewhere right over here. And Dale's there, and Dale gives MacGyver something that allows him to, like, you know how MacGyver makes a paperclip and some shit into that. So now we're like, well, this is really exciting because now Dale's been in 2 shows, and if you 2 shows across 2 different networks. And if you follow the storyline from the first date to the second date, there's actually like a loose story. So now he's like, okay, now I'm sure running Picard. How
do we get Dale into Picard?
So he writes Dale into it, and I'm like, this is great. I'm like, so now there's a storyline. Now Dale's story continues into Picard, and I didn't know.
Yeah, this is your own spinoff.
We call it the Daleverse, and then I put Dale in Impractical Jokers in a scene. So now Dale's been in 4 shows across 4 different networks.
Dale's got that SAG card, baby.
He's gonna get it. So now, all right, but Terry doesn't tell me that he's putting me in a serious scene. I thought he was gonna put me like I thought, you know, it's me. It's like you're not gonna put me in a serious scene. But sure enough, he throws me in a scene with Patrick Stewart, and it's a serious scene. And like I was like. Terry, I'm going to ruin this. I'm going to ruin this scene. You don't understand. You can't do this. And he's like, no, trust me, it'll be great, great. And it's COVID. So like now we have to be in an actor's holding pen. And it's this really weird thing where it's like they take blue tape and they put it on the floor and they put the actors in this. And they're like, you can't leave and nobody can come in that. It's COVID. So I'm in this box with Patrick Stewart for 6 hours.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
And I'm like, what would you do? Like, what do you do in that situation? So
what's like, how do you spark up a conversation with Patrick Stewart?
It turns out pretty easily because he likes telling stories of the old days, which is like unbelievable. Like unbelievable. He's telling stories about acting on the stage in London and stuff like that. And I told him, of course, he had never heard of Impractical Jokers, like ever, which is crazy because when we pitched Impractical Jokers, in the original pitch, we were driving around to these stupid bits in a talking van, and we wanted Patrick Stewart to voice the van, and the van hated us, and the van he was narrating. So when True brought the show, the first thing they got rid of is just like we're not reaching out to Patrick Stewart. All right, no problem. Then we did the Impractical Jokers movie, and we wrote a part for Patrick Stewart in it. And then once again, this time they reached out, and his people just flat out said no. So when I talked to Patrick Stewart, I told him everything I just told you. And he was like, I've never heard of that. He goes, yeah, I might have done it if they had told me. He goes, I promise they didn't tell me. So there was a little bit of back and forth, but mainly it was just me in awe and like trying not to talk too much because I'm like, I don't know if he's got a process. You know what I mean? I don't know anything. Sure. I know nothing. What do I know? I'm an idiot. So it was crazy though, man. It was crazy. And then when I saw the episode, like I was like, man, I look fat. So that was my takeaway from being in a scene, being like Picard's scene partner, was that I look fat. So you know.
Oh
There
my
you go.
God. Literally anytime I see myself on television, I'm like, do my arms look thin? Where are my arms at? Do they look all right? That's like that's my big hang up is that whether or not my arms look thin. So I hear you.
I
But
got it. Well, I can
man,
tell you they do.
no,
From my
if
perspective.
you wear a large sweatshirt, no one can really tell the difference. So it's fine. It's fine. Sir Patrick Stewart, though, man, what an absolute
Yeah,
legend. That is so cool. Not
it was
only that you
crazy.
got to work with him on camera, but just to like get to spend that time off
Yeah,
camera with him to like shoot the
yeah.
shit.
It was great. And I stepped on one of his lines in the scene and I was like, oh, and the director of the episode was Leia Thompson, who I still have a crush on from Back to the Future. So
Yeah.
like so now I'm getting directed by Lorraine McFly while Captain Picard, it's just like, I couldn't get, like I said, like I live on Staten Island. We don't have these experiences here. So it
Oh
was like,
my
it was pretty
gosh.
out there. It was
That's
great.
really like the who's who because her daughter, Zoe Deutsch, I am a massive fan of hers. I mean, damn, that girl's career is just on the up and ups with every
Yeah,
little thing she does. She's special.
it's
Um,
great.
and also, do you follow? You must obviously follow Patrick Stewart on Instagram. He's one of like the best Instagram follows, just him in his lab.
Yeah, it's
So
him being
wholesome.
super fun and stuff like that. Yeah, he came across to me exactly like he comes off on
That's
that
great.
feed. Yeah.
So cool. Okay, so going back to like when you guys started, because you guys really broke out on like that YouTube, MySpace, like really taking over what those social platforms were to get out there, be seen, and get a television show from that. But looking at the way that that has all changed over the course of the past, God, however many years, do you have any advice for people that are trying to be seen on all these multiple platforms and how to make that work? Because you guys did it, but it's obviously changed so much since then.
Yeah, I think, man, look, I don't even know how to work half that crap anymore. Like I'm like I'm like
Does that freak you out, not being able to work those things?
actually I think my life is better because I can't work those things. I think
Smart.
it's like they're not on my radar, so I don't worry about it. My advice to anybody would be just and I think the value of consistency is underrated. I think it comes down to consistency. When I was in that version of the game, like you have to give people a reason to come back.
Yeah.
So whatever that is, like as long as you're constantly doing it and constantly giving people a reason to come back, I would say that's it. I think a lot of people I'm gonna start a YouTube channel and they do like 3 videos and then like a week
It's a
goes
lot of
by.
work. Yeah, it's a
It's a
lot of
lot
work.
of
And I think people
work.
don't realize that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it just comes down to consistently and outlasting people. Like just never stop. If you never stop, like you've already kind of won in a way. But we like when we pitched Practical Jokers, our agents told us, and I was 35 when we were pitching Jokers, and my agent said to me, us, the 4 of us, you guys are too old to be on TV. So don't try to sell the show for yourself. Like you just make it for teenagers. And, that's our agent telling us that we were too old, and if we'd listened to him, we wouldn't be in the place where we are today. We just kept our head down and kept going. And it's just hard work and consistency. I think there's really no shortcuts around that, I think.
It's really crazy when you think of some of the advice that you get along the way. And I know I've definitely fallen to the trap, along the way through my career. You assume that your agent knows best or this person knows best, but being able to like be selective about what advice you're actually going to take in and what you're going to apply to your work, I think is a big one too, because not everyone sees the picture the same way that you do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've gotten bad advice and acted on bad advice and regretted it. So,
Yeah.
there's that thing where you feel, but they're so good at making you feel like you're lucky to be there.
Sure. Oh my God. Yeah.
Like that is the power that I guess the people in the industry have over people like us, because they're like, there's this version of it where it's just like, hey, if you don't want to do it the way we want to do it, what are you gonna do?
Someone else is gonna do it.
They're
Yeah.
not wrong.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like that you got to find your own value. And they still do that to us.
Yeah.
Like we still hear that all the time. Like now it's like, now the refrain that we hear, actually not since Discovery took over Warner Brothers, it hasn't really been this as much, but the refrain was, well, we already have 300 episodes, so what do we need more from you? So you're lucky to still be making. And it's like, come on, man. Like, at what point does the respect, like, where does it come in? You just gotta laugh and be like, it is what it is, man. You can't get caught down by it. It's gotta follow your heart. It's all the cliches. This is all I can give anybody for advice.
Yeah.
Trust in yourself. Keep your head down. Work hard. That sort of thing.
Consistency is key, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been working for some time, busy. Your life has changed to a degree, but still you're on Staten Island. You try to keep things as simple as possible. What's the bougiest thing that you do now?
Oh, you're gonna think I'm lying, but I gotta honestly say I don't think I do anything bougie. I think now if I fly, I will fly business class.
Okay.
But
You've
that's because
earned
I
that.
tour so much.
Yeah.
And it's just like if you're taking 5 flights in a weekend, like I just want it to be as easy and and most of those are show expenses anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But bougie.
You get like a skin regime. You got like some good eye creams. What's going on over there? You buy some nice boots, a big car.
I there's a joke on the show is that I have a 2018. Look, I have a 2018 Jeep Wrangler that I only have because I had a 2016 that they blew up on the show. They lined it with dynamite and fired a tank at it and blew it up. So I needed a new car. But so there's that. I always wanted to buy a DeLorean because I grew up like this. So I think I might buy a DeLorean, but even that's only like 40 grand. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like out of control. No, like everything I'm wearing, I've had at least 5 years. I don't really, I think
you're like a big saver then. You save all your money.
Yeah, but I don't think of it as like saving. I just think of it as like, I don't really have, you know what I say all the time? I'm Amazon rich. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'll go on Amazon and it's like, if I want something, I'll just order it and get it here the next day. It's $23, $24, and that's fine. I don't even think about that. That's nice. But in terms of big purchases, I don't really have. I wish I want an answer. I want this. I have a 75-inch television, but who doesn't? You know what I'm saying? I don't really know. I'm looking around. I'm like, what's the thing that I got?
Yeah, I know. As I'm asking that question too, I'm like, what do I have that's bougie? Like, I don't know. I guess I go get like facials done. Does that count? But I think lots of people.
Everybody does that.
Everyone does that. I don't know.
So I don't think so. What the heck? I really want to come up with an answer for you on this, but I don't. I'll keep kicking it around.
Is there like a not stupid, but like a sort of like a frivolous purchase of something that maybe you wouldn't have got before? Like if it was like a collector's item thing, or I mean, the DeLorean obviously falls in that category. But
I think that's
not pulled the trigger on that. You're about to. Where do you acquire a DeLorean? How do you get this?
Oh, there's dealership, like there's DMC, there's dealership in Texas that sells like refurbished ones and stuff like that, and get it all up to you. But you could just, I guess anywhere. It's the age of the internet. Man, I guess if and when I buy it, the DeLorean will be the big purchase that I've made. Okay. I really don't feel like I'm trying to find something for you.
It's all right. We can marinate on it. Maybe something else will come to mind.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. We'll revisit that and see if there is something secretly bougie about you. I hope.
Yeah. Thank you. There's a movie. Maybe I'll buy a movie prop but I don't have anything like super cool yet.
Well, we'll work on it. I'll send you some links. I'll send you a couple links. We'll find some stuff. Okay. So you were recently just announced as the Friends of Firefighters Person of the Year.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you to have that honor? I mean, you were a firefighter in New York for 8 years.
A little under 8 years. It was fairly huge to me because I didn't think I deserved it. I was like, guys, like the stuff that I've done for you guys is I don't think worthy of it. But whatever. I'll take it. I love the fire department so much, and it was such a big part of my 20s were spent getting ready to go into the fire department. It's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a firefighter. Then I got into the fire department and I loved it. Loved my house. Loved the guys. I still talk to them all the time. Like they're very, very close. And but when I left the department, it was hard. It was a hit to my identity because it's just who I wanted to be, and being on TV wasn't what I wanted to do. So it was a big switch. So more than anything, like my struggle after I left the department was always to still be part of the department in some way. So the way that I found I was able to do that, besides spoiling the guy at my firehouse, I will send stuff to the firehouse. Like they'll just like a hockey table will just show up for them because
That's awesome.
yeah, like I love them, so I try and do that. But more than so, when I started doing the charity stuff through the fire department, it was like, well, this is a great way to stay connected to them and one that benefits other people. So it's like it's a home run. So to get the award was really like more than anything, it was like, oh, I've been successful in maintaining that tie, and that's kind of how I saw it. So it was very meaningful for that. And the Friends of Firefighter, I mean, the organization is great. They're just there for firefighters, like in anything they kind of need. It rose out of 9/11 and stuff like that. So it was a validation of like what I wanted, which was just to still be part of the fire department. So it was great.
Talk to me a little bit about what that identity crisis moment was like. You grew up wanting to be a firefighter. You were in there doing that. Now you have this massive opportunity to go create the show with your best friends. What was that kind of pull between those two?
It was fun. Because the first season and a half of Jokers, I was still making the show. I was still on the fire department. So I would go to set and I'd shoot from like 9 to 5 and I'd get to the firehouse by 6, work an overnight at the firehouse, then go back to set the next morning, shoot, then go back to the firehouse, work another overnight, and then go back to, so like there were times where I worked like crazy. But the guys in the firehouse were very supportive of me. If I needed a shift off, somebody would cover it with no question and stuff like that. But then I'll tell you what really happened. Then season 2 came along and they computerized the FDNY. So when you clocked in, it was no longer like just write a name in a book. It was like now everything's in the computer and the city could see who's working. And they started noticing like, hey man, like how come this guy, like he owes like 15 tours to people. He owes 15 shifts to people. It's like, and the guidebook says you can only owe 1 tour for a month. So like they started getting wise to it. So, okay, no problem. I took 4 years. So then I took a leave of absence and I pushed it as long as I could. And then at the end of season 5, our contract with True was up. And that coincided with my leave of absence being up. So I was like, great, I'll just go back. Fire department, I can't wait to get back. And then True came back and was like, well, we want to sign you for 3 more seasons. And I couldn't get any more leave of absence with the fire department. So that was it. It was the choice. And I went to True and I said, hey, if I left the show, what would happen? And they said, if you leave the show, we'll cancel the show.
Oh.
And that was it. What
can
I do? Yeah. I mean, and at that point, you know, I was getting closer to 40 and firefighting is like, now I go to the firehouse and they're all in their like early 20s.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't need me. You know what I mean? Like trust me, if you could pick someone to come into a fire to help you, it's not this guy. It's the kids that are doing it.
Yeah.
So but it was tough, man. And there was a moment on the show. They shot a punishment for me where I was on stage and there was a musical about my life, and I didn't know anything. They just threw me out on the stage, and Alex Brightman, he's playing Beetlejuice on Broadway right now, narrated this song of my life about how I'm useless now and how I used to help people, but now I'm just a fat piece of shit who like makes this is comedy thing. And the curtain opened, and it was all the guys from my firehouse. The other 3 guys got them to come to be in the audience. Another jab at me. They didn't know that after I was shooting that day, I was going to the firehouse to tell them that I was retiring. So when the curtain opens on the show, they left it in the edit. You see me do this move where I look away, and it looked like I was laughing, but I started crying. Like I started tearing up because all my guys were there. And it just hit me, and the cameras are rolling, so you can't explain that. So I just kind of sucked it up and got through it. But and then after that, I just went out drinking with the guys,
as one does.
Yeah, it was hard. It was really hard. I felt like I was good at the fire department. I liked it. I was useful, and now I'm just going to go do this bullshit. But
yeah,
you
still participate though. Person of the Year. That's really a cool accomplishment.
Yeah, thank you.
I know that you've been very open talking about your struggles with depression and whatnot. And I was reading an article earlier about how you would also talk about this stuff when you were at the fire department. Did some of that like openness of your conversations about depression and mental health and whatnot, did some of that start with those guys in the firehouse, or was it prior to that?
It was prior to that, I think, because I got a friend of mine named Scott Mosier, and he's a great guy. He produced the movie Clerks and Clerks. So he did a lot of early Kevin Smith movies, and he just directed that animated Grinch movie that came out.
Oh, cool.
He's been like a mentor to me my entire life, and like when I was going through things in my 20s, he was so open and supportive of me that he kind of destigmatized it for me, if that makes sense. And then so I was always very free and open talking about it. My friend Brian Johnson and stuff like that was going through similar things. So it was never for me anything that was something that had to be hidden. And then when I got to the fire department, you know, the guys in the house, look, it's two things. It's like the way we express love to each other is by calling each other an asshole. Like that's just what you do. If you walk in the firehouse and within 5 minutes nobody's called you an asshole, that means they don't like you.
Yeah. No, that's my favorite kind of affection, actually. I
That's
love
it.
that. Yeah.
It's the best. It's the I don't even know how to operate out of that paradigm, really. Like sincerity kind of, you know. So
get out of here. Oh God.
Yeah,
no,
like, oh
too much.
God,
Too much.
what's the matter with you?
Gross.
Look at this guy.
Yeah.
But the guys, look, it's a tough job and you see a lot of crazy shit. So I didn't find there was that thing of guys not wanting to, like, if something was real, there was, you know, 50 guys in a firehouse and you liked 48 of them and they were all open and so it's a very supportive environment. It's couched in you're an asshole piece of shit, but like it's really like very supportive. And you know, I see like you know, I don't want to bring this down, but like you would go to a car accident and there'd be a hurt kid or something like that, or you know, that's hard, especially like, you know, you go back to the firehouse and there's like guys who are like, look, like it's okay to talk about this and stuff like that. And plus I got on after 9/11. I got in 05.
Yeah.
And the department was still reeling. I mean, reeling from that. And I think that everybody understood that, you know, talking about it was a good way to go. So it wasn't like how people like us, like toxic masculinity. Like I never really encountered that there. So anyway, that I've always been open. It's just the people around me have always made me open about it.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, we have tons of conversations about mental health, depression, addictions, anxieties, all those things. I think that it's such a great conversation to have. We do it here on the show. I mean, whether it's with an athlete, a pro wrestler, an actor, musician, whatever it may be, but nobody is safe from that. And I think us talking about it definitely helps to break that stigma even further. Okay, so what I would like to end this conversation on is if you could just run me through when you got attacked by a shark, that would be great.
I almost got attacked by a shark. You talking about the Shark Week thing? Yeah. So it's so funny, man. First of all, we shot a special for Shark Week this year, and it was a blast. It was so much fun. And they're like, "Does anybody want to do a dive to the bottom of the seabed?"
Fuck that.
But I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do it. I'll definitely do it." So I go to the local Staten Island YMCA and I get my certification. Never been in the ocean. It's all like splashing around in the pool and stuff like that, like they did in the first season of White Lotus when they did, right?
Yeah.
It's that to get that certification, and they're like, "All right, well, how deep is the dive?" 20 feet to 15, 20 feet. Okay, great. You know, get the certification, fly out there. We get it. And they're like, okay. And then on day 3, we're going to go down to the 60-foot dive to the wreck of the, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, what do you mean 60 feet? And they're like, yeah, no, the wreck's, that's where the sharks are. So you got to go down 60 feet. And now because like I said, I'm a firefighter. Like I know what 60 feet is. Like it's a 6-story, 7-story building. So it's like in my mind, I'm like, nobody told me that, but like, I can't be the guy that's like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm like, I got to do it. So there I go. I get down, I get in the water, panic, pure panic, because like, they're like, hold on the anchor rope and just, slowly go down. And I look down, it's like, there's the wreck 60 feet down with sharks circling it. And I'm like, and the water's filling the wetsuit. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get out of fucking water. I gotta get this fucking water. And I'm like, Brian, calm down. calm down, take a breath, take a breath, go down. Get down there. It is amazing. It's great. These 8-foot reef sharks are swimming around. And Dr. Craig, who is the Shark Week doctor, great guy, says, oh, look, when you're down there, keep your arms in, because if they see your hands going, they'll think it's a fish. They'll come and they'll bite it just to taste it, right? Now, mind you, the year before, the Jackass guys do a special, and Poopsie almost got his hand bitten off by a shark. And it's the same crew every year, so they're telling me the story over and over again. And you're like, well, this is fucking, you guys told me this wouldn't happen, but it just happened. And they're like, yeah, but Poopsie's an idiot. He went into bloody water and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't know that. I don't know Poopsie, but it sounds like you told them the same shit you're telling me. Like, I'm sure Poopsie felt safe. No, so I get down there, and like now we're also shooting it. Like now I'm down there, but like we're shooting a comedy that I had a whole claymation shark thing, and I had to point at the thing, and you're at the bottom of the ocean, so you're all loving it. So I just start like an idiot, waving, my hand at the camera, and just as advertised, there's a 6-foot shark's walking, and it sees me, and its fins drop down into like an attack position, and it dives at my hand. And Dr. Craig, and you see it going, it's on camera today. He's going, Dr. Craig just puts his hand on the shark's nose and shoves it away. And the shark just goes. And they didn't even tell me about it, like, till I was up. Like, and then I get off the boat, and they're like, did you see that shark almost bite your hand off? And I'm like, what? No. And they're like, yeah. And then I saw the footage, and I'm like, oh man, maybe I gotta stop maybe I just gotta stop saying yes to every single thing that comes my way. Like maybe I should just start saying no every once in a while.
Oh my God, that would have been a long 60-foot ascent back to the water.
Oh my God. And then the blood's going and the sharks. Yeah, it would have been horrible. Even like with AEW, because like I'm trying to get involved with you guys. Like I'm trying to get over there and get involved. And they're like, and they're great. I mean, such great crew over there. And they're like, yeah, you got to go to like training just to even get in the ring, because like, and I'm just like, put me through a table, I don't care. And they're like, yeah, all right. They're like, just calm down, just you know what I mean? So I think maybe I gotta learn to like just look out for myself a little bit.
It's a little baby steps. The other day I was trying to show John how I would execute a kick in the ring, and he's like, get out of here. You're not like, you don't know what you're doing. But sometimes, you get a little big for the boots. You're like, I can do this, no problem.
They make it look so doable. They're so good at it. And like, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to say like, I don't look at it like, I could do that, but I do look at it like, oh, I want to do that.
Yes.
And that overrides common sense. Then you're like, well, you're talking to athletes who train all the time at doing it, and they'll have experience and perfect all this stuff. So yeah,
what do you want to do? What do you want to do? You want to come in and like manage somebody, or you want to like, what would your like ideal thing be?
My ideal thing, and I don't think they'll let me do it, is I just want to be a heel. Like I want to come in and just like scream at the audience and tell them they suck, but they won't let us. They won't let me be a heel. I don't think. Like anything. I just want to be part of it. Yeah, I just want to be like. I just love it so much. So to be in the ring, looking out of the crowd from that perspective and being a part of it. I don't know, man. I want to be involved in like a silly story. Like I don't think anything serious would call for me in it.
Sure.
Yeah, but like just like
we can get you in like the Jericho Appreciation Society and get
I'll
people
put on the white suit.
Entertainers.
Yeah, sports entertainment. I love it. But you look at like what the Jackass guys did. And I love Jackass, I'm a huge fan. But what they did at WrestleMania, you're like, that is
great.
It was great. It was fun. They all had their spots. They all had their moments. You know what I mean? Sami Zayn came out looking like $1 million.
Totally.
You know
No, that's like a great example of something that like, I don't want to say like the bar was like low on that, but I think we were like, I don't know what we're going to get. But like, man, it worked out beautifully. They had like a good amount of time. They got to tell the great story. Yeah. Man got involved. Like, yeah, it was.
When he body slammed, you're like,
I know.
This is unbelievable. And I just want to be a part of that. You know what I mean? I just want to be a part of it somehow because I love it so much. So I think that's what it is. I'll do anything. I'll do anything they want me to do, really.
Well, good. I look forward to us being able to be co-workers to some degree.
I love it.
Make that happen.
Amazing. Yeah, I agree.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for drunkenly agreeing to doing this podcast and then following through on actually doing it.
My pleasure. No, I'm a fan. I got to tell you, before we go, I do want to say, and I've said this to you before, but I just want everybody listening to this to know, at the WWE shows, when I started seeing it at AEW, like it's not always like comfortable back there to be a guest because you don't want to get in anybody's way. You don't know who knows you, who doesn't know you. You were always so warm and inviting and kind, like notably every single time. Even if it was just in passing, like I felt like I belong there. And I'm not just saying this, like you were a big part of that. Like you were just so nice every time, which is why I was like, I just want to make sure I do this one.
Thank you. Oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Which just makes me want you to come work at AEW even more. So we can continue to do that. Well, hopefully I'll see you soon.
Yes, I'm sure you will.
Awesome. Thank you.